All righty. It looks like we are live, guys. Welcome, welcome. So happy to be here. Happy Friday. Oh, and today is an exciting one. We have Jared here with us. Hi, Jared.
Hello, Jessica, and hello, Hack Mankind. Honored, excited, and ready.
Oh, so exciting. And you just got off a call back to back with Unblinded because you are the CEO and co-founder of Unblinded. And not only you have launched a multi-million dollar software platform without any outside capital, and you also have a bunch of hacks for us, I know you do, on how we can all increase our sales skills through integrity-based human influence. So tell us a little bit what we're going to be sharing today. I'm excited to have you on today.
Yeah, well, I'm honored. I absolutely love what Hack Mankind represents in this world. This is a movement of people that are committed to integrity-based hacking, like finding ways to dramatically improve their life, not by hurting, but by helping others do the same. So I love what you stand for. It aligns with my values. For me, when I was 20 years old, there was one thing I was absolutely certain of in my life, and it was that I was eventually be a dad. Not when I was 20, but eventually I was going to be a father. And I remember thinking to myself, because this even came to me, Jessica, because my parents, when I was young, went through a really bad divorce. I'm sure there was worse divorces than my parents. Theirs was pretty bad. And when I was 20, I was thinking about how much my future must be quieter than my past, because my past was just loud. It was tumultuous. It was chaotic. And as I was thinking about what it meant to be a dad, there was only one word that showed up for me, and it was freedom. And I started digging into it. It was time freedom. It was geographical freedom. It was career freedom. It was financial freedom. And I started thinking to myself, well, how does someone create freedom? So fast forward to today, I'm 35, 15 years later, and I have a beautiful 3.5-year-old daughter named Taylor and a rock star son named Riker, who's 1.5, and I have freedom. And it's because of entrepreneurship. So I've launched many companies over the past 15 years, had a few really strong exits, even more learning experiences. And entrepreneurship, because I know that's what this audience is or has a desire to become, is the path to freedom or captivity. And I think we're going to talk about that a bit today, because that's one of the things that I've been able to successfully do as an entrepreneur, is use it as a mechanism to create freedom. But yeah, that is when I knew this is the path I had to go down.
Oh my goodness, how exciting. And you're 100% right, especially during this time. I feel a lot of us are focusing on this. And you talk about, I mean, we talk about leveling the playing field. And can you talk a little bit more about, what's true for you? So you're talking about being, quieter, having more freedom, and talking about your children and being able, and I'm sure you set yourself up for right now during this time where you're handling this, I'm sure, with a lot more ease than a lot of us that weren't prepared, in the sense of having an online business, having that freedom set up. So you've already done it, and you can tell us how to do it. And so what are your thoughts about that, leveling out the playing field? What's true for you there?
So I don't want to sound unempathetic to anyone that's suffering right now, because I know there's like real meaningful sickness, death, lost jobs, financial struggle, and I empathize. I know people that are sick. I know a few people that have died. I know tons of people that have lost their jobs. I know even more people that are very stressed financially. So I'm not empathetic, because I really am. But I know for certain that Corona is happening for me and not to me. And it's not just about me, it's about every one of you that are watching this. So I'm unimpacted. I'm actually, if anything, I'm impacted in the positive way, because as this hit the world and the world started to freeze, I just started taking even more action. And as a result, every company that I'm in has grown substantially, because action is the fast path, execution is the fast path to overcome any challenge that exists. What happens for most people that are in business is when challenge surfaces, they stop, they freeze. They're not sure what to do next. Fear takes over. And the fast way to stop momentum is by stopping. So if you had great momentum before Corona, and then Corona comes and you stop because you just don't know what to do, well, guess what? You have to now start from walking to trying to sprint, or even worse, standing still from trying to sprint. So for me, I'm always in constant execution mode. And I'm also not romantic about the outcome. Obviously I want the outcome to be positive, but if it's not, because I'm always in execution mode, I can course correct really quickly. So once again, if you're suffering, please don't be like, oh, like, who's this dude coming on here? Like, times are tough. I get it. And I challenge you to shift your belief system because it's happening for you, not to you. And the number of people that are in corporate America right now that hated their corporate career and hated it even more because they had to commute to an office that they hated. And now they're in a corporate job, which they still hate, but they're working from home and they're like, this is a lot better. And when things are normalized and they're told to go back to the workforce inside of an office, they're going to quit and finally pursue entrepreneurship. Excites me immensely. So if that's you or you're already an entrepreneur, my call to action for you is seismic, massive action that makes you slightly uncomfortable. As I always say, makes your like eyeballs sweat a little bit. That's a good thing because within that execution, you will start to build momentum and momentum can build on momentum. And I'll get more practical and tactical, but that's my call to action for all of you. Take execution right now very seriously so you can build momentum on momentum.
I think that brings me to two questions with Jared. So for those people who are like, okay, what do I do? But before then, what would you say to those who are frozen and are like, I don't know, well, maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Like, what is your like reality check message to some people? It's like, if you do not do this, what will happen?
So what will happen is you not taking action makes it easier for me because I am. And it's about anyone else that is taking action. So like you have a decision. There's no gray here. It's either you're going to execute and do Okay, we're back. You can hear me now?
Yes, I can hear
Cool.
you now. I was wondering if it's my connection, so
No,
it's good.
my audio just went out. So they're just not going to make it out alive. And I don't mean that their health is going to suffer, but their business or their vision will. So my question for you is just how badly do you want it? Like, and that's like such a critical thing to think about because like entrepreneurship, it's not for everybody, but it's for the people that want it badly enough that they're willing to wake up every day, potentially live in discomfort, live in doubt, but yet continue to take action and believe deeply that they're meant to do what they're meant to do. I used to lecture at entrepreneur schools, like probably 10 years ago in colleges to undergraduates. And they would often ask me like, what does it take to do it? Because I've always been an entrepreneur, besides for 6 months that I worked on Wall Street, because I thought that I should have done that when I was 20 to try it on for size. And they told me one day, Jessica, if you comb your hair this way, you'll look a little older. And I said, yeah, I'm not going to ever see you again. And I quit the next day. Because I'm like, I am definitely not working anywhere where they tell me how to comb my hair, especially when the hair is like this good, right, Jessica? Like that's just not happening.
Yeah, that's just a crime. It's a total crime.
You know who you're talking to. But with all seriousness, I used to lecture to entrepreneurs and I would tell them to succeed as an entrepreneur, there's two things that you need. One, you have to be able to endure pain because it's not comfortable. Like it's just not. Like from anyone's standards, I've accumulated a lot of success and I wake up every single day in doubt, but it's just momentary. Like I doubt, like, do I really have what it's going to take? Like, can I handle that next level every day that I show up? And that's like my initial belief system. I just very quickly changed my state into one of enthusiasm and excitement and massive action. So enduring pain is a very real thing. And that might be where many of you are at right now, where it's kind of painful to be an entrepreneur. And the second thing is that you need to be naive enough to think you can. Like that you actually can take an idea and make it real. Like you have to believe in that so deeply that like people around you that don't get it, like not this community gets it, but the people that are outside of this community, they're like, you're crazy. Like you think you can like disrupt sales? Like you think that the word sales is going to now be unblinded the same way that a tissue is a Kleenex? Like Kleenex is a brand of tissues. And when people say Kleenex, like that's become a word. Or like Zoom. Like Zoom is like a webinar platform that everybody uses now as like an online meeting. Like it just changes the vernacular. So like at Unblinded, we are redefining sales by making sales unblinded. And there are countless people in my world that are like, you're crazy, bro. And I say to them, thank you. That's exactly what I needed. I needed to be told that I was crazy because I know that I'm onto something or you wouldn't have said it otherwise. But I get it. That's not for everybody. There are people that are watching this. They're like, if I was told I was crazy, I would like lay under the covers and eat like a Twinkie and like go to sleep because I couldn't handle it. That's okay. Self-awareness is huge. But if you still want to be entrepreneurial, then find a company that allows you to express your genius in an entrepreneurial fashion without being the entrepreneur. Because those are two different things. Not one is not better than the other, but they are different things. And this is what I used to share with young entrepreneurs. It's figure out which one you are. Either you're the founder or you're not. And it doesn't mean you're not good. It means you could be great, but you're not a founder. And that's okay, because a founder has a lot of pressure. For me, I gravitate to that and I love it, but I understand it's not for everybody.
100%. And I love that you mentioned Unblinded and you mentioned sales, because we have some questions pouring in. And then thank you so much. In the back end, we have actually Peter, our founder, helping us transfer over some of the questions. And one of the first ones is about sales, is I don't like sales. You probably hear this all the time. I don't like sales. I have a feeling that I'm just really bad at it. One of our members say, however, I know that right now is the time to build a business. What is your advice?
Yeah, awesome. So my first piece of advice is, why don't you like sales? Like, I mean that, right? Sales to me is the most beautiful thing within the domain of life. Like, it's not even like just within business, like life. Like, think about this. Like, let's use the word sales in other settings. So I don't know who that person is, but like, if there's a chance that you're in any type of relationship, intimate or friendship, you sold that person to be your friend or your life partner. And I would say that's pretty darn beautiful, right? Like, if you have a child and like you can get your child to like go to bed at night, like you sold your child to go to bed at night. I have a 3.5-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. It's the only time in the day that I can't get yes. Like, I can't. And when I do, like when they finally say yes and they go to sleep, it's like, I'm like, I did it. Like, whoa, like extraordinary. But what if that fails? Like, people look at sales as like pressure and manipulation and force and shame and making people buy things that they don't want. And I'm here to say that the art and science of sales is the single point of transformation for people. Every time I've had anyone say yes to anything that I am selling them, and I have sold a ton of stuff in my life, their life changed forever in that moment. The act of just saying yes. So to the person that just said, like, I don't like sales, but I know that I need to start like building my business, redefine that word and your whole life will change. Like, your entire world will change when you redefine that word, sales. Second, look at this opportunity as an opportunity. Corona is happening for you. It's not happening to you. So what have you always wanted to do that you use the excuse of time as your reason not to do it? I was leading a Q&A a few weeks ago, Jessica, and there was like 1,200 people on for 3 hours. It was actually insane. And I want to say there was like 300 questions that were answered. When I was done, I was really sweating. It was just like question. But I said I would stay here for every question, and I did it. And there was a number of health professionals that were present, chiropractors, functional medicine practitioners, and their brick and mortar businesses a few weeks ago were completely locked down and closed, and they were in a state of panic. And I said, but wait, what if this was happening for you and not to you? Let's just start there. Like, just even if you're just doing this like to appease me, let's pretend that you believe that. So they said, okay. I said, okay, is there a chance that you've always wanted to find a way to support people outside of like the 7-mile radius of your office? And they said, yeah, that's always been the dream. And I said, that's amazing. Why haven't you executed on it yet? And every one of them, there's like a dozen of them, said, you just don't have the time. Everyone, time. I'm like, you know what the coolest thing in the world is? And they said, what? And I said, the Corona is happening for you because now you have the time. Now you have the time to go and like build that online health course that you've always wanted to do, but you use time as your reason not to. And I'm going to guarantee this. The 2 of you that do it, or the 1 of you that do it, will end up at the end of Corona being in a better place than where you even started. Guaranteed. So for the person that asked that question, A, redefine sales as transformation. B, what have you always wanted to do that you use the excuse of time as your reason not to do it, and then do it like today, and at the very latest tomorrow, and the very, very latest on Monday. And that's how I would respond to it.
Thank you, Jared. And that totally links into our second question that we have coming in, which is, when do you think it's time to acknowledge a business idea is not working, right? So we've set that idea, what it is that I love doing. And this person is saying that, What are the signs? I just started mine and all I hear is no, no, no. So that makes me think of like where people are telling you you're crazy. So what would you say to one of our members that are saying that?
It's awesome. So there's a few factors that come up. So one of the things that I stand against are seekers. I love them as people, but like seekers drive me insane because they're on this like mission to like find, and in the process they don't create anything. So one measurement of success, not all, one measurement of success is money and being able to produce money. And if money makes you uncomfortable, it's another thing to redefine, because I know a lot of people that make a lot of money that do a lot of good things in this world. So all that money is it exposes the truth. And if you're a nasty person, a lot of money makes you even nastier, and vice versa. So money's a beautiful thing, and it's a measurement of your ability to produce value. So the way that I measure whether something is working or not is whether or not there's a real financial model with it. And like not one that I'm convincing myself, but one that is a truly scalable financial model that will lead to the lifestyle that I want. And that's something that you have to decide, like what type of lifestyle do you want? And is with what you're doing that will allow you to have that lifestyle. Another thing is many people measure their success or lack thereof just too soon. Like you haven't earned the right to measure it. I don't know how long you've been doing this or how long you've heard no for, but don't measure it so soon. But at the same time, blind to the fact that maybe you need to iterate and innovate. So the reason I've been able to scale many companies at this point is I'm just not romantic about them. I don't care about being right. I care about scaling them. And I know that as I scale them, it'll make massive difference. So I care about what everybody says, and I also care about what nobody says. So I don't take people's opinions of me personally, yet I hear their opinions. And if their opinions make sense, I'm very quick to respond, like immediately, like within that next hour, if not by the next day. So I don't know how long you've been hearing no for. If it's like for like a month, I'm going to keep on keeping on. That's like way too soon to measure, but still listen. Like, are there consistent no's? Because that could be an opportunity for you to become unblinded. But the real question is there a financial model associated with what you're doing that's going to create the lifestyle that you want? And that's something that's so hard for people, Jessica, to like really think about, because sometimes like they're really passionate about widgets. Like they're so passionate about their widgets, but they would have to sell so many widgets to even have a mediocre lifestyle. And if they want more than a mediocre lifestyle, then they shouldn't sell widgets, they should sell gadgets or whatever that actually looks like. And it's like really important to be so honest with yourself, because when you are that self-aware about whatever it is that you're doing and the financial model associated with it and whether or not it gives you the life you desire, then you know you're on the right track. I'll share one more point. When I first launched one of my other companies called Synduit, I had so many people that were like naysayers and unbelievers. It was actually like almost ridiculous. Like no one believed, other than like my family, that this was going to work. But I knew that there was a financial model attached to this that will lead to the lifestyle that I wanted. I just had to find a way to communicate it better. And once I found a way to communicate it better, people started paying me. And I was right. So my communication was the actual issue, but I was certain that the financial model was present to give me the lifestyle that I wanted. So assess where the issue is. Don't measure things too soon, but don't be blind to the fact that there could be iterations or innovations that have to happen on what you're currently doing to get to the outcome that you want.
Wow, thank you. And you mentioned something. So before I dive deeper into that, because I'd love for you to dive deeper into that, we've got some love pouring in from Facebook. Hi, Tia. Hi, Pete, Jennifer, and saying amazing hacks and amazing hair.
This is amazing hair. I thought that I'm not
Putting
confused
kids to bed. Oh my goodness. So one of the things you did mention, Jared, and I remember we talked even about that in person when I was talking about my business, is scalability. Can you go deeper into that? What do you mean by scaling? Making sure that your business, you're not romantically attached and you can scale them.
So the first thing is to figure out what you want. And that goes back to like, does the business idea allow me to create the financial outcome that allows me to have the lifestyle that I want? Because scale is a very subjective concept. Like I know people that have the lifestyle they want, but like if you look at their business, it is completely unscalable. It is like exchanging time for money. And for me, I don't do that in anything. I never exchange time for money. I'm going to sound arrogant, but I'm not arrogant. Like there's no amount of money anyone can pay me for an hour of my time ever. I'd rather give it away for free than get paid for it. Like that's how weird I am about exchanging time for money. And that's not the case for everybody. There are people that are like in the coaching industry and they love exchanging time for money, or they've convinced themselves that they like exchanging time for money. And that's fine. But like, be honest with yourself to figure out, what does scale mean for you to have the lifestyle that you want? The way I define scale for me is that any business that I do has to be able to grow exponentially without me. So there's a company here, Cinduit, that's one of my companies, is a great example of this. Cinduit's going on its 9th year at this point. July will be 9 years. I started it in my apartment 9 years ago, tiny little 2-bedroom apartment in Fort Lee, New Jersey, overlooking New York City. And in the early days, it was literally just me. So I had to monetize my skill, which is I can write marketing copy and I can really sell. So I sold myself as a copywriter. And it worked. And I got some really cool clients that had bigger demands than just copy. And that turned Cinduit into a marketing agency. And we scaled based on my standards at that point. And we had hundreds of clients. We had a very big team. We had a big office. And then in 2012, my definition of scale changed, because what I realized is I built a company that was like a perpetual HR department, where every time a client would say yes, I had to hire somebody to manage that relationship. And I started to redefine what scale meant, because what I didn't want was a company that would only scale through hiring. And that's literally what I had. It was a company that would scale based on my ability to find talent. So I said, okay, I stand against that. That's not the lifestyle that I want. I want to find a way to do what I'm doing, but I want to support 1 million businesses at the same time. That was the scale I wanted to create. So then I thought to myself, well, as an agency, if I want to support 1 million businesses, I'll have to hire about 400,000 people. And I definitely don't want to hire 400,000 people. So how do I do that? And also get the price to a place where 1 million people can afford it, because at $5,000 to $10,000 a month, there's not 1 million people that can afford it. So I said, I'm going to build a platform that allows me to support 1 million people. And I had one token engineer on my team in 2012. And I pitched him on the vision, which was to build the simplest marketing software in the world, and then to pre-populate it with all of the content that a business would need. And like any engineer, he said, of course I can do that. So I'm like, let's go. And literally we did it. And within 14 months, we built the first version of our software. And within 4 months of launching that software, only to chiropractors initially, we had 1,000 chiropractors sign up at $500 a month. So anyone would say, oh my goodness, that's such scale. Like you had a few hundred clients in your agency, now you have 1,000 chiropractors, amazing. But it wasn't my scale. My scale was, I want to support 1 million people. Like, and it wasn't because of the money. It was like the impact that that could lead to. So I said, okay, well, how do we go from 1,000 chiropractors to 1 million business owners? And the only way I could conceptualize that was to work with every single industry on planet Earth. So I said, okay, let's do it. So we re-engineered the software. And then about 4 years ago, we launched the current platform. And we went from 0 users on day one to now over 40,000 users that are paying for the software across 30 industries. And you're probably thinking like, oh my goodness, scale. But I said 1 million. And I wasn't like just saying 1 million, like I meant 1 million. And what I quickly realized, this is where every one of you are going to see me like speak to your soul right now. What I quickly realized was the only way that I'd ever get to 1 million was to develop processes that didn't include me, because I didn't want to go on that ride. That was not what I wanted for my lifestyle. I keep going back to lifestyle. That's not what I wanted. So I said, okay, if I want to get to 1 million, but I don't want to be the face of what it takes to get to 1 million, and what I really want are like many faces that aren't mine, what do I do? So we started private labeling the software, and now we have 14 versions of our software in circulation. Within the next 3 years, we'll have 100, and that's when we'll hit 1 million users. What's the point of the story? Is that I built a business that only takes 30 minutes of my time now a week. That is it. 30 minutes is invested into Cinduit. There's 40 employees on the team. We went remote about 2 years ago, not because of Corona, but because I wanted to give people more freedom. So 2 years ago, we went remote so they can work anywhere they want. And we continue to scale with like a dabble of energy for me. That's how I talk about scale, is how can you scale businesses where you were able to generate enough force initially so that momentum can kick in and then it just continues to scale. That sounds like theoretical and impossible. It's just not. But the key is to recognize that in order for that to happen, you need to build a team around you that you can trust and be comfortable with the fact that what you're striving for with perfection probably won't be met, but it's far better to have somebody else doing it than you so that you can invest your energy into your zone of genius. So that's how I define scale. we will have 1 million people that we support on Synduit, and Unblinded will support like millions and millions of people from around the world as we redefine the word sales.
Wow. And one of the things that I really hope for those tuning in really listen to when you mentioned it is you have the vision of 1 million people. You have now been in business for a few years, and it didn't stop you. You didn't go, okay, it's been a year, I'm not reaching 1 million people. So you did still take it with always that vision in mind and making decisions based on lifestyle and the scalability. You're taking action towards that and creating it. And it's not, it's a never ending process of just keep forward, keep going forward and creating what it is that you created. And it's step by step. For those people listening, I think that that's also an incredible message. And one of the things you mentioned is time for money. And sometimes people then start saying, well, I have to charge for the value, and they don't give unlimited value. And that relates to one of the questions we have here in the back end is there such a thing as adding too much value, giving too much value to our customers or even to our prospects?
No, and here's why. And this is like going to totally disrupt people, but I believe everything in life has to be done with integrity. So integrity is defined as giving your all or giving nothing. Like that's how I define integrity. Integrity is defined as someone's either better with you or without you. Integrity is a black or a white. Like there is no gray. So when it comes to the question of, is there such thing as giving too much value? Well, no, it's either no value or all value. Like that's what it is. So that might be challenging because if you're a coach and you're like, oh my goodness, if I give away all my value on like free Facebook Lives, why would anybody hire me? Well, that's where it's really important to innovate and iterate. And I'm going to challenge everybody. Don't build a business that exchanges time for dollars, because there's no one that wants that kind of business. I am certain of it. If you're telling yourself you do, you're lying to yourself right now. Nobody wants a business where you exchange time for dollars. So it's being innovative. It's finding ways to consistently deliver that kind of value, but not because you're putting the time in. And like, what does that actually look like? Like, I believe in having businesses with multiple divisions inside of it. Obviously, you have to start somewhere, but let's use Unblinded as an example. I met Sean Callaghy in August of 2019. That was the first time we met. And
yes, tell us the story. We want to know the story.
Yeah, cool. So many of you know Sean, he was on earlier today. And I met him in August of 2019 because our worlds were meant to collide. This past summer, for the first time in a decade, I had a lot of bandwidth. I just dialed in my process mastery and I had like a lot of time. And I had no idea what to do with it because bandwidth was not something that I was accustomed to having. And Sean woke up one random day and said, now's my time. Now's my time to mainstream integrity-based human influence, which was a human technology that he formulated and then synthesized and refined over the past 23 years to support his own need, which was his desire to disrupt law. And that was the desire for 23 years. But he woke up one random day and he said, I don't want to be the only one that knows this. Like, I want the world to know about this. And some of the reasons why are his kids are either in college or going to college. And Sean, like me, is dad first. So I completely honor the fact that he never wanted to miss a dance recital or a baseball game or a soccer game. And then he couldn't do both. So he went all in on being a dad. His law firm is kind of on autopilot and he turned 50. And this was his time. So my stepfather, Dr. Charles Berg, who would be a great person for you guys to interview for Hack Mankind, has been Sean's chiropractor for probably like 35 years at this point, Jessica. Like when Sean was a child, like that was his chiropractor, but he was more than just a chiropractor to Sean. He was like a deep mentor to Sean. And he was not my stepfather 35 years ago, but he is my stepfather today. And my mother and Chuck went to one of Sean's seminars about 2 years ago. And my mother heard Sean speak for the first time and looked at Chuck and said, I have to make sure that Jared and Sean connect. Well, nothing came from that for about 18 months until this past summer. It's really interesting is when we first met Jessica, I knew nothing about Sean other than he was a very successful attorney and that he was blind. Like that was literally all that I knew. And I didn't really understand why my mother and stepfather wanted us to speak, but it is my mother and stepfather. And I'm like, sure, I'll talk to him. So we get on the phone and within about 60 seconds, Sean says, oh, and you know, I teach sales. And I'm like, what do you do? Like, Like, what? Like, is it a hobby? Like, what do you mean? And I was so turned off, Jessica, by the fact that he taught sales because over the past 10 years, I've invested millions of dollars into my own professional development. And I've bought every sales program I could find. And it's not because I need to. Like, I really know how to sell. I wanted to. I was like on this like quest to like find something that I didn't know within the space of sales that will lead to my acceleration. And I would go through these programs. I was always so eager and excited. And then I'd finish them. And I'd be like, I could have taught that program. And I'm not saying it because I'm arrogant. I'm saying because what they were teaching was just so theoretical. It was like theoretical selling. That's just not how it works. So I just assumed that when Sean said he teaches sales, that is what he did. And he sensed it. He sensed that I was like totally turned off. So he's like, do you mind if I share what makes this different? And I said, Sean, anything, like redeem yourself, like, or talk about your kids, like one or the other. So he's like, yeah, sure. So let's talk about integrity-based human influence. And he started talking about this formula. And Jessica, it was one of the craziest moments of my life because what Sean did in that moment was attach words to what I've always done. He attached steps and processes to what I innately would gravitate to. And all that I could think about as he was sharing this with me was the 150 salespeople that I've hired over the past decade and let down because I used to train them. And I would tell them, do what I do, feel what I feel, see what I see. And like a few days later, they'd come back and they're like, Jared, what do you see? And I'm like, I see someone ready to say yes. Don't you see it? They're like, we don't see it. I'm like, dude, you just can't sell. And it had nothing to do with their inability to sell. It was the fact that I couldn't teach it. I just know how to do it. So I was blown away by Sean. And I said, Sean, you're amazing. What you do works. Like I do this, this works. What can I do to help you? And he said, I have a question. And I think you're like the most qualified person in the world to answer it. What would you do to build a business around this formula? And I said, okay, before I answer that, I have a question for you. Like, do you like games? And he's like, yeah, I love games. I'm like, okay, great. This will be fun. I'm going to play a game called I'm going to share ideas. You can't say a word until I'm done. And then tell me which ideas you like best. And he goes, great, let's go. So I said, okay, idea number one, and this is a great opportunity for any of you that are trading time for money. These are the kind of ideas you should consider deploying in your business. So idea number one, an online sales university where we take your formula, we modularize it, and we put it inside of a platform for individual people to benefit from, or for companies to license and then roll out to all of their employees. Idea number two, a done-for-you CRM. So the world of CRMs has this fatal flaw, which is the assumption that people know how to follow up. And that's a bad assumption because most people don't. So the done-for-you version guides people through the actual process of sales. Idea number three, live immersive events, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day events. Idea number four, a mastery program with personalized coaching for people that really want to accelerate their skill set. And idea number five, outsource sales. So outsource sales is for businesses that want to outsource a portion or the entire sales process to trained sales professionals. So I said, okay, Sean, there's 5 ideas. I have like a dozen more, but like before we go there, like litmus test, like what do you think of these ideas? And he said, Jared, I love all of them. So I said, great. And he goes, before you go any further, I have one more question for you. And I said, please, like ask it. And he said, what would it take for you to launch a company with me and deploy all of these ideas? And I said, it's funny you say that because for the first time in a decade, I actually have bandwidth and I don't even know what to do with it right now. And two, as I was sharing these ideas, all that I could think about is how we should do this together. So the answer is yes, let's do this. So we launched the company. Adam Gugino, who you know as well, one of the other co-founders, Fernando Valencia, one of the founders as well. And all of those ideas are real. And everybody's probably listening to the story. They're like, wow, how long ago is that? It was the day before Thanksgiving in 2019. So like, I don't know, 5 months ago. And those are like every idea as a company under a holding company. So the online university is like thriving. The CRM, it's being built as we speak. We'll have a beta launch at the end of 2020 and then official launch in 2021. We had our first event. Jessica, you were there. You were jumping up and down. I remember in the front row. We had an event with 1,600 people and we filled it in 3 days, in 30 days, like craziness. So a 3-day immersive event. We launched our mastery program with hundreds of students. And with regard to outsource sales, it's thriving. We had a call center. We expanded it to a 40,000 square foot building, which we actually closed on about 6 weeks ago. And 40,000 square feet building during Corona don't make a lot of sense. So we like pushed back the start date and we built a virtual call center with a few dozen people right now. And we're going to expand another 100 people in the next 6 weeks. And it's all outsourced sales based. What does this mean to everybody here? what you need is a 5-division business model, but not today, but like thinking this way. Division number 1, online education that people can purchase where you're not exchanging time for money. Division number 2, a scalable software solution. It could be an app that like packages like whatever your genius is, or something like a CRM. Idea number 3, once the world normalizes, host immersive events, whether they're small events or large events. Idea number 4, some type of certification program where you can certify people in your genius to then go out and like be you, but not you, right? Like you're not exchanging your time for money. And idea number 5, some type of done for you service within whatever your domain might be. That's the 5-division business model. This is what I've deployed many times. Unblinded just happens to be the perfect machine for it, which is why it's accelerating so quickly.
Oh my goodness, so exciting. So tell us more about Unblinded. We have some people that want to know about and love the idea of integrity-based influence sales. And so where can they learn that? Can you tell us a little bit more about Unblinded? I can't, a little like sideline. I cannot believe it was the day before Thanksgiving. I spent Thanksgiving at Sean's house with Mona. So Mona is Sean's girlfriend and we're really, really good friends. So I spent Thanksgiving. I had no idea all this happened the day before.
Yeah, it was like literally the day before.
Crazy. I remember when I remember when Adam in Miami, we were all in the hotel. We were at another event and we were all outside in like this heated pool area. And then Sean said, okay, we need to go have a business meeting with Adam. And they jumped into the other pool and that's where they had their meeting. It was great. And that's when Adam actually decided and we're like, okay, I'm joining Unblinded. And this was when were we all in Florida? Just a few, around Thanksgiving. Insane. Anyways, so it accelerates, and I am definitely a fan, a great friend, and believe in fully what you're doing in Unblinded, 100%. And that's why I'm so grateful and blessed that all the hacks, all the life hacks, all the business hacks you've been sharing with us today on the call are so valuable. And you're tuning in, or I know a lot of you watch us on recording, make sure, take notes, listen to what Jared is saying. It is gold, guys, gold. All right, so how can somebody learn about integrity-based sales, and tell us more about Unblinded? What's going on right now?
Let's do it. So like if you were like anybody right now, if you were to walk around with social distancing, so at least 6 feet apart, and like ask random people, what's the last word that comes to mind when you think of sales? It would be integrity. Like I am absolutely certain of that. Like people do not associate the word integrity with sales. But all that I know is this: I have sold an enormous amount of stuff in my life. And every time I have sold anything, it's been with integrity. If someone's better with me than without me, it's my moral responsibility to get them to say yes. And if they're not better with me, it's my moral responsibility to not have them say yes. And like that's integrity-based selling. And any of you that are watching this that are like, I hate sales, now you love sales. Because with integrity, you like helping people, and that's sales. So let's redefine it. That's what Unblinded is doing. It's redefining it. And we do it by teaching the skill, which is integrity-based human influence. Just so everybody knows, influence is the only attainable superpower. And when you know how to deploy influence with integrity, you can have anything you want. And that is no hype. That is reality. You have more money in less time and with more magic. That's the power that influence offers you. So we teach it, and there's various ways that we teach it. We'll talk about that in a minute. We're soon going to organize it in this organized sales, which is what the CRM is going to be as well. And then we can also do it for you. So if you're in a business where outsourcing a portion or all of your sales makes sense, that's what Unblinded can support you with. Now, there's different access points. And what I'm going to encourage everybody to do is right now, go over to unblindedbusinessaccelerator.com and sign up for our 6-week immersion. It's absolutely free. It shouldn't be free. And there's nothing we're upselling to you. Like, it's just like this weird, like people like internet marketers are like, oh, like, what are they doing? And we're like, yeah, we're doing integrity-based human influence. There's no like weird thing behind the scenes. Like we're not selling you something. It is a 6-week immersive process to teach you how to build your own ecosystem. And an ecosystem is a like-minded group of people that are business-minded, money-motivated, integrity-driven, that want to create relationships that are not transactional, not 1 + 1 = 2, which is what networking does. Networking is defined as I want to find a way that Jessica could help me. And if she helps me, I'm going to help her. Like that's networking. Ecosystem merging is I want to partner with Jessica so that 1 + 1, the two of us, could equal 1 trillion. Let's think about like Sean meeting me. If Sean was trying to network with me, he'd have been like, hey, Jared, do you think you could do like some like marketing for our event coming up? Like that would have been a dialogue, right? That wasn't the dialogue. What Sean said was, will you launch a company with me to deploy all of these ideas? 1 + 1 = 1 trillion. It's a great example for everybody. So over 6 weeks, today was week 1, but you're not behind because people will be joining throughout the entire process. You're going to gain access to this program. And this is not like hype or theory. This is the most tactical, practical business training you will ever experience, bar none, and I guarantee it. And if I'm wrong, I will give you one of my precious hours for you to like make fun of me and like be like, Jared, like you're a joke. Like, and I'm cool with that. Like, I'm totally cool with that. If this isn't the greatest business training of your life, head over to unblindedbusinessaccelerator.com, sign up. You're going to gain access to the Unblinded University. You'll have one program, which is this program, and you can watch the first module, which literally was the reason I was 5 minutes late. We just finished it. And there's downloadable tools. There's a community of people going through this experience together. I mean, it is ridiculous value. Like I would say if we were to price this, I wouldn't even know how, but it's like $10,000 because it's really going to lead you to a place where you're in a group of 10 people that understand ecosystem merging. And that is crazy talk. And then we're going to teach how each of those people how to build their own 10. So now it's actually an ecosystem of 100 people. And now you're accelerating at a rapid speed. That would be the best way at this point to really immerse yourself in our culture and leave your credit card and your wallet somewhere else. It's absolutely free, no strings attached. Unblindedbusinessaccelerator.com.
What a gift. What a gift, guys. Please make sure to head on over to unblindedbusinessaccelerator.com and you'll be able to sign up for free. Oh, how exciting. How exciting. And so one of the things that I always like to say, and I'm conscious of the time, and your hours are precious, guys. I am telling you, so it must be real good program for Jared to say. One of the things that I always like to ask, and we like to ask here during our interviews, is there are 2 questions, and they always bring back to our mission here at Hack Mankind, which is to confront fear head on and misinformation, and replace that with opportunity, hope, and clarity by providing content, tools for people to take action day-to-day life. So in order to do that, we look at this time as kind of like a sabbatical in a way. For some people, it's a forced sabbatical. For some of us, it is. And you explained what you've been doing, and you're like, I didn't see this as a break. I saw this as a huge opportunity. I just went forward. If you have to say one thing that you saw that was a huge opportunity for you during this time and that you're doing for yourself, it could be anything from knitting to spending more time with the kids to the business side. What is the one thing that you see as an opportunity for yourself?
So it goes back to lifestyle, right? So like I'm a dad way before I'm an entrepreneur, like way before. Like I will not do anything that takes away time from being with my kids ever. Like there's no opportunity financially, meeting somebody, like that just won't happen. When I first met Sean, I said, I have 2 rules if you want me to do this with you. So rule number 1 is you have to recognize that I'm beginning what you're kind of ending, which is like, I have a 3.5-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. You have kids in college. You'll travel the world and go to every event and speak there. But if you measure my contribution based on me traveling with you, then we shouldn't even get started because I'm not going to. And he goes, Jared, I respect you even more now. So that was a huge thing. And the second thing I said was, if this is about, if Unblinded is Sean Calley, I'm not interested in doing this, not because I want it to be about me, because I don't want that. I want it to be about hundreds of thousands and millions of people, like not building a personal brand, but giving each person the tools and the resources to do what they want with it. And he said, that is exactly what I want. So those were like the 2 boxes that were checked. But to me, like what I looked at this as the reason I looked at this as an opportunity was because I knew that everybody else wasn't going to. So I just Jessica, when I say we took crazy action, there was a 3-day time frame where we launched a mobile app, we launched a podcast, we launched 2 YouTube channels, we restructured completely the Unblinded Huddle, which is a huddle that we meet every day from 8:30 to 9 a.m. Eastern time every day. We launched our Real World Role Play, which is a series where we actually have people every day having an influence off against each other, trying to sell their products, their services, their missions, or their cause. We started the process of building a tracking platform along with and 3 programs in 3 days. So like people are like, you're ridiculous. And maybe I am, but that's why this is happening for me and not to me. And I put my kids to bed every single night, ate dinner with them every single night, played with them on the weekends every single day, went for my workouts every day. And this is not about me. It's about defining what you want for your lifestyle, having that be your non-negotiable, but then selecting the activities that are the highest and best use of your time during the hours when you're actually working. And that is the key for right now. Because when you select the best activity for the highest and best use of your time, this becomes an accelerator for you. And that's the key. That's my daughter in the background. I'm sure you can hear because everybody's working from home now. And that's what that sounds like. And I love that. But yeah, that's what it is. Big takeaway, highest and best use activities.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I love hearing the spirit of your daughter in the background. It gives life and fun and spirit. I love it. Oh, I said it. I love it. That's like one of my trigger thing. I keep saying I love it. I do. I love a lot of things.
Better than I hate it. That's definitely
right. I'm being good. I said it like once. I'm allowed to say it like once or twice in a call, yes. Not 50. So my next question before we head over, as I mentioned, I always have 2 questions. And with that idea in mind of our mission and our vision, which is so similar to that of Unblinded in a way, is what is the opportunity that you see for mankind coming out of this? There's so much things that we're seeing, people getting taking the homeless out of the streets and taking care. There's people connecting more with their family, like you're saying, spending more time putting their kids to bed where before they wouldn't, being more involved in their education but before they wouldn't. And I used to live in Manhattan. I no longer do, but when I did, and I remember like at 7 o'clock we would open the windows and you'd see kids and families and people like bashing making a lot of noise for the healthcare workers and the frontline responders, and it just sets a sense of community. So there's so much happening that's so beautiful in humanity right now. What would be the one thing that you would really hope to see coming out of this?
So it's so interesting you say that. I was thinking, we live in Westport, Connecticut, which is like an all year round beach town, like an hour outside of New York City, and we're maybe like a 3-minute walk from the beach. And so we go there like every day. And a few weekends ago, like when this was first starting, I was at the beach with my wife and my 2 kids, and we walked there. We had like no agenda. We sat down on like a picnic blanket. We had some healthy food, and the kids were throwing rocks into the water, and it's on the Long Island Sound, so there's no waves. So it's like the perfect beach for a 3.5-year-old and 1.5-year-old because like they're totally safe. And we had nowhere to run. And that's not normal for families that have young kids because there's always somewhere to run, from activities to family. And our new norm is scheduling that in. And that was a major, major breakthrough for us as a family, to have time where there's just nowhere to run and there's nowhere that we'd rather be in that present moment. And seeing the kids laugh and get wet, and little Riker like falling in the sand and being sad because his hands were sandy, and his sister coming over and pushing him like she should, and then picking him up and kissing him. Like there was nowhere on planet Earth that I'd rather be than in that very moment right there. And my hope for mankind is whatever that is for you, because that's just what it is for me, that you don't lose that as we go back into this new norm. Figure out like what about this was like so special for you that didn't exist before, and just hold on to that for as long as you can, if not even forever.
Oh, wow. I could totally picture that. How heartwarming. Thank you for sharing that. And I love how you related to each and every one of us, how we can all do this. It's not like a huge step for humanity. It is a huge humanity if we all do it. So that's a beautiful share. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm super conscious of the time. We only have a few minutes left. One of the things, so you did mention the Real Raw, you mentioned the morning calls. I will be a judge on the Real Raw next week. I'm excited.
Cool. That's awesome.
The one thing that you would say that people should do is really to be able to connect with you and to Unblinded and Sales Mastery is the Unblinded Business Accelerator.com. That's the best way.
Yeah, the reason I'm going to say that is even if you're not in business for yourself right now, like one of the things that has happened with social distancing is like potentially like accelerated isolation, like people feeling that they're on an island, like trying to figure this out. Because I guess in theory you are, because we're socially distanced. And what we're teaching you how to do is build an ecosystem. And that means that even if you're not like physically together, like you're connected. So the reason, I mean, there's so many different access points, but that's just the best starting point right here, right now for every one of you is sign up and it's free and like watch the first module that happened right before this. It'll be loaded within the next hour. So by the time you get in there, I'm sure it'll be in there and like watch it and like then do the exercise because we're teaching you how to complete a sentence, which is I want blank. And you're going to do it 10 times. And this is not like a thinking exercise. This is an action-oriented exercise. And you're completing that with the relationship you want. Like picture like a draft, like whether it's like the NFL draft or the baseball draft or the basketball draft, and there's only 10 spots that you can fill. Who are those 10 that you can accelerate and they can accelerate you? Like who are those 10? Like what are they? And get really specific and then begin to fill those 10. That's what the first module is going to teach you. In the second module, we're going to teach you how to communicate with those 10. Like what are the things that you say to those 10 people to keep them highly engaged and highly motivated and seeing what you're creating, which is an ecosystem. In the third module, we then talk about merger marketing. So merger marketing looks like, what do you do to market together? Like, is it doing like Facebook Lives or webinars? Like what kind of stuff can you do together? 1 + 1 = 1 trillion. In the fourth module, we're going to talk about transitioning from transactional to ecosystem merger, because many people will do like a webinar with somebody or a podcast or a Facebook Live, and they'll be like, oh, I merged ecosystems. And I'm like, no, you didn't. You did a podcast or a webinar or Facebook Live. Like merging ecosystems means that you're genuinely thinking about each other all the time and ways that you can co-create and produce more value. In the fifth week, we're then going to talk about this really cool marketing hack. So that you guys like that word. That's like fascinating, where you can actually give people access to a stage and a microphone so that they can accelerate their message and their mission and their cause. And then in the sixth week, just backed by demand, there's a huge population of people that want to understand, okay, I am all in on Unblinded. Like, how can I make like money from Unblinded? Because like I see such an opportunity here. And in the sixth week, we're going to talk about how's an ecosystem, if you want, how you can make money from Unblinded. And if you don't, that's cool. Just keep on merging and working together. So I just say this is the great starting point because I have this feeling there's a lot of people that are going to watch this are going to feel like they're on an island by themselves. When you have an ecosystem, you might be on an island still because of social distancing, but you're not by yourself. And that's why I recommend unblindedbusinessaccelerator.com.
Amazing. And you're not, yes, we're not alone. You might feel it. You might feel isolated. And we are not alone. And that is what I love about Unblinded. And it's also what I love about Hack Mankind. So as well, if you're looking, so make sure you are unblindedbusinessaccelerator.com. I've just done it. I signed up. Pretty easy. Name, email, phone number, that's it. That's all you need. And you're in and you redeem your $1,000 coupon on there. Thank you, Jared, for that. And I'm excited to follow the program. And for those tuning in who haven't done so yet, please make sure that you are signed up at www.hackmankind.com. We are here, as I mentioned earlier, our mission is really to confront fear and misinformation head on and replace it with opportunity, hope, clarity by providing you with content like today and like we will do every single day and tools for you to take action on your day-to-day life. And we have panelists on all different subjects. So today we talked a lot about business and also about our life and lifestyle, but a lot more aimed towards business with Jared today. But every single day we have different topics. So we have business. We also have health and fitness. We have a panelist for that. We have legal with actually a member of Calighi Law, who's a partner with Sean, who's also a partner. And who's a founder at Unblinded, and is on panelist here at Hack Mankind. Talk about ecosystem merging. And so, yeah, we have Sean as well as so legal. We have Sean and our mindset and motivation. We also have Karen with education and kids, incredible knowledge there every Thursday. And then we have Clint with our spiritual calls, and myself on Sundays for relationships. So we have all different topics. We'll be offering more content on the back end. We also have incredible humans that are advocates for disability and also female empowerment. So incredible content at www.hackmankind.com. Super conscious of the time. 1 minute to go. Jared, one last word before we go.
Last word is execute. Like, do something today that moves your mission, your cause, your product, your service, your life forward. Do something, action. Just no thinking, just action. Do something today, and then do the same thing tomorrow and every single day going forward, because momentum builds on momentum. Jessica, thank you. Thank you, Hack Mankind. Peter, I love the mission behind this. Let's all hack humanity to make the world a better place. Appreciate you all. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll catch you real soon. Bye.